No, you're very loved in Spain, you know.
Yeah.
You've been coming there forever. You know.
Yeah, since 1986. My first tour with Judas Priest was my first time.
You played in San Sebastian,
yeah.
Barcelona, Madrid, I think.
Yeah.
I was just like 2 years old. I didn't see
yeah,
that one.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and ever since, I think there's a deep, connection and friendship, and it's a solid foundation ever since '86. And then I wanted to write a little Spanish sentence in one of the songs, and that song was called Für immer, deep inside my heart, Für immer. And then somebody who was tweaking the Marshall amps, I said, oh, I need a Spanish sentence in that song. And he couldn't understand English, I couldn't understand Spanish. And he said, say, hay una promesa en el sonido. And I said, what does it mean? But we couldn't figure it out. And then he said, say it, it's good. And then I did, and then ever since Triumph and Agony came out, in Spain, that's always my favorite country to play and to tour. And South America too. Like,
South America is also great for metal.
Yeah, for metal, yeah. I mean, everywhere it's great. Even places where we haven't been in the 80s, like Russia. And, the Russian metal fans are huge, you know. Romania, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Germany, England, France, Italy, everywhere. Australia, even Thailand. We went to Thailand and China, where I thought maybe there are not many metal fans, but there were. So, I think all over the world, when you're a metal fan, it's like, you feel connected right away. So, but in Spain, it's super extra special.
So, given that you're always, so passionate about music, as you said, you don't really care that much about business. It's about the music for you. Have you ever been, or do you consider that you've ever been taken advantage of, as an artist, in terms of deals, record deals, all that sort of stuff? Because all musicians sing shitty deals, I mean, aside from the Warlock stuff and the name thing and all that stuff, do you think that you've ever been taken advantage just because, it shows in you that you really love this thing and you do it because you want it?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sure many people took advantage, but it didn't affect me. It didn't really affect me. Like, deep in my soul, I thought, okay, if somebody wants to rip me off, then it's their loss. It's when they want to do it. But I always try to stay like true at heart, like this one record, and pure in my heart, and pure to the fans. So whatever anybody else did, you'd sometimes have to adjust something, like what you said, like with the name, then, there was a little disaster for us, like to have not the name Warlock anymore. But, still we could adjust. But I felt I always tried to do what I wanted, and, no matter what. And, and sometimes you live and learn, like in the beginning, like in the very beginning, some people ripped us off, but, I cannot even hold it against them.
You have to take those things anyway,
Exactly, as long as we can do music, who cares?
If I had to take count of all the money that, editors owe me for work that I did,
exactly,
then I would stop doing this, actually, so
yeah.
You cannot really think that much about things.
And my desire in life was never to have anything. I'm not a materialistic person at all. And I don't have a house, I have like 2 apartments, one in Düsseldorf, Germany still, and one in New York, which just got flooded in September, the whole house.
So I was going to ask you about that. Did you have to move, or could you save things? Or?
Yeah, well, just little tiny things, but all like the nice gifts of the fans, they're all like gone, and like some paintings, sometimes they are amazing artists, and the fans gave me like paintings, and the water, it's all like full of mud. But now I know how it is when people have like,
disasters or anything.
And disasters, and it's heavy. But I still live, and I still have a new bed, and that's where I sleep, and it's okay. It's cool. And usually I'm always on tour anyhow, or in the studio.
I remember reading a few years ago in an interview you did that, you came home and you sort of stumbled, with suitcases that were still unopened from the last tour, to that sort of disaster.
Yeah.
So, do you ever actually disconnect from music for maybe more than a month? Never?
No.
You're always?
Always, yeah. And I think I never took a day off, and I never took like a real vacation. It was like To me, vacation, I think that's more stress than just, you know, being on tour. Yeah, like, or relaxing. Oh, no, I don't, you know, I want to do something. And I want to make people happy. That's what I love the most, and I would go, you know, to any length to, you know, to make a person happy. And, you know, yeah, and I, of course, or unfortunately, not all the people are metal fans, but the people who love music, who love that kind of music, what we do, that's, you know, that's what fulfills me. And when I was like 22, 23, I made up my mind, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have a family, I want to do music and I want to do metal and be there for the fans, 150%. And
married to metal.
Yeah, totally. Married to metal, married to the fans, totally.
It gives you less problems probably than having a husband or kids.
Yeah, but I guess when you're older, then there's nobody there. But I hope
you probably have your network of friends, you know, in the business and outside the business as well, that you can rely on and count on.
I hope so. I hope so.
Someone has to take care of Doro Pesch when she's old and she's on a wheelchair.
Yeah, the fans. Because the fans are my closest friends. They're closer than my closest friends, the fans are.
You know, when I listen to bands like Manowar, you know, say those sort of things, it comes across as cheesy, you know, as cliche. But when I hear you say those things, you know, and I look at your face, you really mean what you're saying.
I totally do. I totally do. And I've never been married, and I don't have kids. I lived it the last 30 years almost like that. And I love it. I love it. I love it every day more, and I can appreciate it every day more. And
Has it been a good decision for you, now that you look back?
Yeah, the happiness of other people, that means the most to me, and sometimes that means more than my own happiness. But I'm only happy when the fans are happy, so it goes back and forth, and
You're such a happy, positive person, you know. Whenever I have to do an interview with you, no matter what crappy day I had, you know, when I finish the interview and hang up the phone, it's like,
good.
How fucking nice she is.
Oh, good. That's good. I mean, sometimes, you know.
Bis nachher.
Bis nachher.
Hallo.
Hello.
That was my boss. That was my new boss of Nuclear Blast. And, that was Marcus.
I think it's the first time I actually see him.
Yeah.
No, I saw him first time at the Night Wish listening session in September. But I hadn't actually seen him face to face. Never, you know, and I've been coming to the office for 10 years.
He's a die-hard metal fan, and he started out in his own little room.
Like all the big businesses in the world, you know. He actually starts in a garage.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, usually when people is so positive is you know, because they had something that made them be like that, you know. Sometimes you can have a bad childhood or a bad family situation, and that can turn you into a son of a bitch, and you try to put revenge on other people that doesn't really have anything to do with it. Or you can do the opposite. You can be a very happy, positive, uplifting person. So why do you think you are so positive? Why do you think you are so dependent on making people happy to be happy yourself? Was there something in your life, a turning point, that made you be like that, or were you ever like that?
I think I must say I had a great dad. He taught me a lot, and my dad, he had a lot of heart and soul, and he loved music. I think I have a lot, of my dad's side. My mom is very nice too, and my dad died, which is terrible, but
your mom is still
my
alive.
mom's still alive, and actually I think I was taught by my dad to do the right thing, and he didn't understand why I want to do metal at first. He said, does it have to be so loud? And
Typical.
Of course. And then later on he said, he said, I support you whatever it takes. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. And he was a truck driver, so I was growing up in a truck, actually as a baby, and then we went, from city to city, and
same as now.
Yeah, same as now. So I think I have that from him, that I love to travel, and and I had my parents were great, but other than that, I had a rough childhood. Oh God, I was like lots of not so good things. Actually, one of the songs on this album talks about it. It's called Revenge. That's one song. It's a heavy song. It's with double bass, fast, and if people are interested, well, it's heavy. no, but yeah, I had some heavy things, so I think, boy, if I ever get treated so bad again, and then I thought, I better learn from that I would never treat people, you know, as bad. So maybe that, you know, shapes a person. But yeah, it was rough, and I'm always pretty sensitive, so I take everything to heart, and and I can't sleep at night, and I'm, you know, I'm not like, you know, just going to bed, falling asleep. Sometimes the guys in my bed, just like, and I always like, you know, I always think about, you know, certain things, or even what the fans say, and certain things affect me deeply, that sometimes I have to see that I, you know, can at least hop on stage and do a good job. But yeah, but on one hand I thought it's a curse, on the other hand I think it's good, because I can be sensitive to other people too, and to other people's destiny and what they have to go through, and so I can, you know, totally relate, and, you know, and I guess I can write some super sensitive songs, and yeah, but I just, I don't know, I guess, you know, when you're born with certain things, and then, but yeah, but I always try my best, and yeah, I think the Freiheit song, human rights song, it's definitely like taking a stand, and I think it's very, very vibey. It's not the typical song, but I think it's very important. And I think the duet with Lemmy, I think it's a...
I was very impressed about that one, because of the way he sings, you know. I have never ever heard, I mean, sometimes in the more bluesy Motorhead songs, he sings with a different sort of attitude, but he sings melodically, you know, in this song, you know, he was on the same level as you, you know, the way he phrased things. How did you get that out of him?
Oh man,
it was tough
he just did it, and I was just sitting there, and the engineer, his name was Chris, and we were just like, wow, blown away, and then hearing Lemmy's voice, and he sang it in LA in the studio, and it was like, I always got like goosebumps every time he sang something, and then you know, I couldn't even decide which one is better, and I loved every word. I love Lemmy, like everybody loves Lemmy, and me too, and yeah, and it was so great, and it's such an honor to have him on this record again. We did 2 duets in 2000 on the Calling the Wild record, Alone again, and Love Me Forever, the great Motorhead song. I love that so much. And Alone again was very soulful too. Lemmy wrote it, so I know that, you know, sometimes when he does a ballad, it's cool. And, you know, he's very soulful, and he has a lot of heart and soul and spirit.
You've always had a very good friendship, you know, with you know, certain artists, you know, like Lemmy, like Dio, like, you know, there's few artists that you've always been very connected with.
Actually, a Hungarian fan gave it to me, so I always have some Motorhead stuff on. Always like,
Have you ever been to the apartment, to the famous?
Yes.
Does it smell very bad? For being a man?
No, it was great, and we had so many things to look at, and like,
because I saw the documentary of like everyone else, and I was like, fuck. No, but I think, you know, from what you tell me, you know, you live a sort of, you know, similar existence. You know, you have your small shrine, your small apartment with, you know, you don't need anything else, because like him, you're always out somewhere in the world, so you don't need a big house.
Only suitcases, and my place is a mess. I'm a total like, I wouldn't be a good housewife. I tell you that. I can't cook, and I can't, you know, I'm not tidy. It's like,
it's amazing that even, you know, when you're so much on tour, well, you've been for your whole life out there, you still keep yourself very much in shape, you know. You don't look older than you are. Actually, in fact, you look like a grown-up child sometimes, you know, because of the smile, you know, especially. And I mean, you didn't get fat. You didn't get, you know. I mean, you're still the same, still the same shape that maybe 25 years ago or something like that.
I still feel the same.
How do you do it, you know, being on the road, because you eat a lot of junk food and you eat a lot of shit and not sleeping and all that stuff? Do you do like workouts sometimes?
Yeah, I do a lot of sports, and then sometimes on tour, you know, you don't get much food. Sometimes, you know, the catering, when I go on stage, then I do a show, and then I want to eat something later, and then there is no more food because catering is long gone. Yeah, and sometimes you don't eat much, and then, you know, and sometimes I'm happy when we even get some food on the road. And when the band is eating, then, you know, I have to do some, you know, maybe autograph sessions or interviews, and then so, so I'm not eating much on the road. And yeah, and I'm doing a lot of sport, and on this record, you know, sometimes it gets so intense, like, you know, when you're mixing and stuff, and then, you know, I started smoking again, and I gave it up again. Yeah, but sometimes I smoked a cigarette. I was like, oh, you know, so, yeah, but, yeah.
Were you a big smoker before?
Oh, yeah, I loved to smoke, yes. Yeah, for many years, and then I gave up many years ago, but sometimes once in a while.
You got the temptation. Well, it's very.
But I know it's not good, and
it's very fucked up for the body, you know. Like, you know, Rob Halford, you know, the smoking killed his voice, you know, in the past few years. Then he gave up smoking, and he's sort of gotten a little bit better, you know.
Oh, yeah, I saw him was it last year in Wacken? Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. And I saw him, I think Hellfest or something. Was it Hellfest? Yeah, the voice was mint.
It was very good now. But 3-4 years ago, when he was still smoking, it was like very raspy. He couldn't get to the higher range. I mean, he's still having trouble with that, but you know, now he gets a little bit. You know, before he couldn't get to it. You know, because of, you know, he was chain smoking like a madman. You know, he even admits that himself. You know. So do you want to go?
No.
So also Angel, you know, is one of the most beautiful songs on the album. You know, as always, you always put some German songs on the album. This time I think it's actually 2, 3.
Two.
Yeah,
this one little headbanger. It's just it has some little German words. It's called Nackenbrecher. And Nackenbrecher is actually like a headbanger, like a neck breaker. And I thought I'd just squeeze it in. And it's just like in the chorus here and there. But it's in English. That's a double bass song. And so, yeah, Engel, that's a German one.
And what's the story behind it?
It's,
you know,
it's that I want to be your angel and always be there and, you know, protect you. And like it could be written in a way like, you know, a boyfriend to a girlfriend or a mom to a kid, like something that, you know, that I always want to try to, you know, to look out for you and to protect you, maybe in spirit and stuff. And I pray always like for a lot of people, and I always try to give out positive vibes, and actually I believe in like, yeah, in I don't know if you know, I'm not a religious person, but I believe in positive energies, and I believe in angels, and then I thought, I want to write a song about it, and I wrote many songs about angels, but this one is like a particular, personal one, and maybe I want to translate it into different languages. Yeah, we did a couple of times, like in Spanish and French and Portuguese, and yeah, I will see.
Well, that's a good way to, you know, to really connect with, you know, certain territories, you know, because always fans take that as a compliment, that you took the effort into doing the translation and stuff like that.
On the last record, Herzblut, we did it actually in Spanish, French and Portuguese, and I think it came out really nice. It was on the 12-inch on the single, and then sometimes I love doing it. And my first Spanish song was was it on the Fight album? It was called Salvaje. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And yeah, so sometimes I love doing stuff like that.
You know, since the beginning of the well, since the mid-80s, you know, since you came the first time to Spain and all that, you know, metal has changed a lot, you know, but still, you know, most of the bands, what they try to do is copy what happened in the 80s. You know, there has been really few developments in the world of metal. You have metalcore now, but you know, that's just an expression of the extreme metal that appeared in the 80s, just with more screaming vocals or whatever. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the lack of evolution, you know, in a genre that always goes back to 1984 all the time?
Man, I think, you know, looking back on the 80s, I was pretty damn good, no? And all the greatest bands like Judas Priest and Maiden, Dio, Saxon, Wasp, everything. I think it was like lots of Metallica, Megadeth. I think it was so great. And then, in the 90s it was tough to even, to capture the same spirit. The metal world was suddenly not the same anymore. So I think it was, the 80s definitely had like some great music, songs, bands, and you know, and you always want to go back to something really great. You try to have something really unique and special again, and still love the bands from the 80s.
This is what I usually listen to, you
and
know.
there are not so many new bands which are really, you know, at that level, like, of the 80s bands. I mean, some of them.
Is there any new band that you really listen to?
Yeah.
Or that you get hooked on? I know it's now difficult to just mention something.
Yeah. I love, for example, I love Arch Enemy. I think she's doing a great job, Angela. And yeah, it's not new anymore, but Rammstein, I think they're very unique because they're so one of a kind. But yeah, but all in all, I still love the 80s stuff. And yeah, of course there's some like Children of Boredom I like, but yeah, actually not as many as in the 80s. That I could, you know, go on forever. How many and who I loved, and Motorhead, of course. And there's only one Motorhead in the world, and even yeah. But yeah. Oh, I see. Marcus is coming from.
It's okay. It's okay. So just one last question. You know, recently, well,
but to answer this question, I always try to do something new, but still keep like the old, great like roots of the 80s, like, you know, like the great stuff.
I mean, Raise Your Fist in the Air, you know, is 1986.
Yeah, no,
I mean, actually,
yeah, people said, is that your new All We Are? And I thought I didn't write it like that, but I think
I wrote it in my impressions, you know, it's like the new one.
Oh really? Oh really? Yeah, some people said it would be great because All We Are, I have so many positive feelings, yeah, we played the song every day, every concert. I think there's not one concert without All We Are. So Raise Your Fist would be great if it would be another huge anthem.